My name's Eli Galloway. I'm 29 years old currently, from originally from Georgia, but I'm currently living in Austin, Texas, and battling synovial sarcoma for the second time now. So that's really where I'm from and kind of what I've got going on.
Okay, let's get started. Okay,
All
well,
right.
thank you so much for joining today to come and share your story. Can you just t tell, people who are watching, listening, anything about yourself that you feel like really describes you?
I work in Austin. I work at the Tesla factory there. We part of the construction team. I've been there about 5 years. I traveled for work before coming to work there. That kind of led me to where I'm working now, and it keeps me pretty busy. For fun, I usually like to go run or work out, go on a hike, visit family, keep myself as busy as I can and distracted, not thinking about like kind of what's going on and with my medical stuff as much as I can.
Got it. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Wow. Okay, so you said Tesla, obviously. How did you get involved in all of that? That sounds cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Like I said, I was just working construction, going from job to job. One thing led to another, and actually, I started a job in Illinois at the Rivian plant when they were going to start building the Rivian truck and the Amazon van. And that kind of gave me some connections, and it led to the next job, which would have been the Tesla EV factory, the Gigafactory in North America. So that led me there, and it's like the job that's just never ended really. All my work was always 1 or 2 weeks here, a couple months, and then it led to that, and it's like the never ending job site. So there's always work there. That's
Wow, that's cool. And like, what do you specifically, because there's a lot of different types of like engineering that you could do. So what do you specifically do with them?
so there is a lot of engineers that work there, but I'm more with the construction team. So when they get like the engineers get a design that they want to install, it's going to produce cars, batteries, like whatever they're making. We're the team that kind of goes in, lays everything out, and receives the equipment, robots, and we install it like the assembly lines that would put the car together, or whatever battery they're trying to make, anything like that.
So you see completely how they're made. I have to ask, do you see how what do they call them? They look like, okay, they kind of look like toys to me, but I don't know anything about cars. They're like the Cybertrucks. They're the ones that are like very angular. Do you put
Yeah.
those ones together?
Yeah, we actually installed there's a molten aluminum press that makes the underbody of that Cybertruck. It's actually the largest molten aluminum press in the world. It's like 1.7 million pounds once it's all assembled. But we actually assembled that. That's like the first piece of the car, right, that gets put together. And then we installed like several parts of the assembly line. But yeah, they make at Tesla they make the Model Y in Austin, the Cybertruck, and now this new car, the Robo Taxi. So I get to see all
The
those every day.
Wait, I have to the Rogo taxi.
Robo.
Okay,
Or
Robo. Okay,
well, they call it Robo Taxi or the like a cyber cab. It's a two-door gold car. It's got
a
like
two-door
no
door.
it has no mirrors, no back windshield. It's all cameras. It's fully automated. Drives itself.
Oh, I see it. Oh, that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
clearly I haven't driven in 10 years. I just see kind of cars go by. I take the train all the time, so I just am really out of the loop on it. Well, okay, so that's clearly keeping you busy during all of all of this that's going on. So you're battling synovial sarcoma, you said for the second time.
Yeah. I've had a reoccurrence in my lungs. Originally, it was in my foot, like stage 2 in my foot. Now it's stage 4 in my lungs.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So the first time it happened in your foot, can you
Mhm.
talk about like what happened there? Like when did you notice something was wrong? Like what were the symptoms? How'd you get diagnosed? All of that first
For sure. Yeah.
first stuff. Yeah.
I was, I guess it really all started a long time ago. I was in my teenage years and I broke my foot across the top. I broke all the metatarsals on the top and also twisted it really bad and all the breaks were straight, so we let it heal up naturally, and I was fine. I was running around, but I always had a pain on the outside of my foot. I was never really sure what it was. So my senior year of high school, I went back and got X-rays and stuff. And oh, we'll just do like an exploratory surgery. We'll figure out what's going on. They found like a little cyst. They weren't sure what it was. They took it out. It was right on the side of a nerve. They sent it off. It was non-malignant, so it wasn't cancerous. And I thought I would be good. I healed up from the surgery, and I still had the pain for years. And 4 or 5 years later, I went back again to another specialist, and he's like, "Oh, that nerve that the cyst was on, it damaged it. So let's go in and we'll take the nerve out." So I had this second surgery, took the nerve out, and the pain's still there. Like it was kind of like numb on the surface, but I still had that pain in my foot. So I was just like, okay, I'm not going to doctors anymore. I'm just going to live with this pain and I'll deal with it. And all of a sudden, I had like the pain got worse and it was like swelling in the area. And I thought nothing about it. I thought, well, it's just swollen out, ice it, it'll go down. And the pain just got really, really bad in like 2023, 2024. And I couldn't sleep at night. It's like super big mass all of a sudden on my foot. I mean, it's like one of those things you don't realize your fingernails need to be cut until it's time to cut them. You know, you look down, oh, I need to trim my fingernails,
Yeah.
kind of thing. That was the way it was. It was like, oh, it's just a little spot. Well, then all of a sudden it was like, this is out of control. Like I really need to get this seen. So that was really how the symptoms started, which got me to start seeking some more opinions on what was really going on my foot.
And were you like a really active person in high school? Like personally for me, I played a lot of sports, so like I felt like I was very aware of like my body and stuff. So I would, and I've had, I mean, not sarcoma, but I've had like surgeries myself. So I would know when something's off and I need to go to the doctor. So did you have that same kind of feeling where like were you like super active to where you're really in tune with your body kind of thing, or what was it like for you?
Yeah, I was always very active. Even growing up, all the way to high school, played sports, football, baseball. Me and my brother would always sneak outside the window when we were supposed to be doing homework and be playing. So I mean, I was always really active. And that's really like I always knew I had this problem in my foot since I broke it, so I always kind of like protected it, but thought it was just okay, I got a bad foot kind of thing. And it was actually during football practice, my senior year, when someone like hit it with their cleat. 'Cause I always tried to like watch out where it was, but I could still run and move. But if it ever got hit, it hurt. And that's what happened with someone hit it during practice, and I couldn't walk off the field. It hurt so bad. And that's what led me to go get x-rays and get it seen my senior year. Like, okay, I really have a problem, you know. So I was definitely in tune with my body, definitely working out all the time, lifting. I mean, even though I had the bad foot, I was lifting lots of weights. I could squat like 300, 400 pounds in high school. It wasn't that bad yet, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Then you go to the doctor after you get hit in the foot and they do more scans. So did they finally figure out that it was sarcoma at that point or did it take longer?
No, it took a lot longer. It wasn't that was probably 2015. It wasn't until 2024 when I actually got diagnosed. I mean, I had had two surgeries and they seen nothing in there. And then, like I said, this spot developed on my foot in probably 2021, and it just slowly grew into this is unbearable. Like I had kind of given up hope. You know, I was gonna just not go to the doctor and just gonna deal with this pain. It was 2023, 2024. I was like, okay, this is not right. Like I have got to get something done. And that's when I got diagnosed was in 24.
If you don't mind me asking, what was that diagnosis like? Because you're quite young, and I'm sure I always say this to like everybody, just like hearing cancer and then hearing sarcoma, because it doesn't even sound like a cancer, must be like a kind of a whirlwind of an experience.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like I went to the doctor and they're like, "Oh, you have cancer." It was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go get some opinions, and I'm not gonna commit to doing anything until I feel comfortable with someone's opinion." And I had got all kind of opinions. Like, went to a doctor in Austin. They're like, "Oh, it's a epidermal cyst that where your last surgery, some skin got in there, and then we're just gonna cut it out and see what's going on. I'm like, I don't know. I get some different opinions, and I even traveled to Mexico because I just wanted like that different of an opinion. And I got a MRI scan just on the street clinic in Mexico, and I had a very very good doctor from Spain who works in Mexico look at the scan, and he called me back when I got to the States, and he's like, "Look, this is serious." He's like, "I think you may have a type of sarcoma in your foot. You need to go get your lung scanned like right now." And I'm thinking, cancer in your foot? Like, you're crazy. I'm gonna keep getting opinions. And that was in March. And so I went to another specialist in Houston, and he's like, "Oh, world renowned specialist." And he's like, "Look, this is out of my league. I'm gonna send you down the street to this guy. He does wrist and ankle cyst, and he's gonna check you out. I'm really good with feet, but like this is out of my league." He sends me to him, and this guy's like super good, and he's like, "No, this is out of my league. I think it might be sarcoma. I'm gonna send you to MD Anderson in Houston." And that's when me and my mom were like, "Oh no, like this isn't good, you know." And when I finally got an MD Anderson, got the uh, biopsy, and it came back confirmed, it was like you say, it was really crushing at a young age to hear, "Oh, you've got cancer in your foot," because like, what does that even mean? I've never even heard of anyone having cancer in their foot. Like when I told people, "Oh yeah, I've got cancer in my foot," they're like, "What?" And like hearing it at a young age, it's terrible. Like not not the news you want to hear at 27 years old for sure, when you have your whole life in front of you.
Yeah, and like how do you even explain that to people? Because it's like, yeah, like you hear about like lung cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, and then even on top of that, you don't hear about cancer at such a young age. So it's like, how did you even find a way to explain that to people? Because I'm wondering if I were in that position, would I even continue to tell people I've got cancer in my foot? Because it does sound um different than what we hear culturally and like online.
Yeah, people were just blown away, and they're like cancer in your foot? Like, what do you mean? I'm like, I really don't know. I mean, I don't know where it came from. I don't know how I got it. And like the best way I described it to people was the way they described it to me. It's just extraordinarily rare. Like to have it in your foot is extraordinarily rare, and they don't even know where it comes from. Like they say, sometimes it comes in old trauma areas, and sometimes it just pops up like a strike of light, getting hit by a strike of lightning. It's just really rare, something you don't hear about. And so I wasn't able to explain to people like, "Oh, how it happened." I'm like, I don't know. Like, could have been my old injury. Could have, like, nobody knows. And it's because of the rarity. It is under researched, and like, there's not a lot. There's a lot of unknown, and it was definitely hard to tell people and explain to people for sure.
So then, okay, so you get diagnosed at MD Anderson.
Hmm.
It's this really weird sounding cancer. It's like in your foot. Um, so what next? Did they just start like a treatment plan? If so, what did that look like? Or was there like more testing to do?
Yeah, it was one of those things where they're like, "Okay, we're gonna take a biopsy. We need to take a biopsy." I signed the consent form. I took the biopsy. The results came back, and they called me, and they're like, "Okay, it is, you know, what we thought it was. It is sarcoma. You need to start chemo like next week." And I'm like, "What? Next week? Like, are you crazy?" Like, I didn't know what to think. I'm like, "Chemo? Like next week?" It just the doctor was on my doctor was on vacation, and she called in, came into work because it was such an advanced tumor, and she was trying to push me through and like explain to me, "This is we need to get you into chemo right now." And I was floored by the news that, "Oh, I need chemo like right now." It's just completely took me by surprise, and it was unexplainable, the feelings I had.
And did you just say, okay, yep, we're doing it? Did you feel like you wanted to give any pushback, or how did you handle that decision?
Yeah, it was me and mom. My mom always goes to the doctor with me. We did a lot of research and stuff, and we talked to him, and we're like if you if you want to save your foot, this is what you need to do. And also, this is what we highly recommend for the chance of it not spreading. They explain the risk of it spreading, and this is, the best way to try and save your foot. So it was just one of those things where like, okay, from what we knew, we were in one of the best places that we could be for cancer treatment. And after going through so many people that had no no idea what I had, to finally find a person that's like, okay, I see this every day kind of thing. I felt like I was in the best hands I could be in. Um, so I was just like, okay, like I said, I wanted to get opinions until I found the person I felt really comfortable with that knew what was going on. It was like, okay, you got this super rare disease called sarcoma, and this place I'm at is supposed to be the best, and they have this whole floor just for sarcoma. It's like this whole sarcoma center. So they must really know what's going on. I trusted them and took off with chemo within a week.
Yeah, I'm sure. Did you feel like kind of surprised that there was like even such thing as like expert sarcoma care? Because it is quite rare. Did that ever catch you by surprise?
Yeah, I mean, it did for sure. Like I was like, I got this super rare stuff in my foot. Now all of a sudden I'm in a sarcoma center, and I start looking up like people come from all over the world just to come to this because they have sarcoma and there's nowhere else really to go. It definitely caught me by surprise, but it also was a blessing for me being in Austin working and this being somewhere that I could drive to within 2.5 hours and be at one of the better sarcoma centers there is.
And thankfully you went to Mexico because I haven't heard that before of like actually going because we have a lot of we call like expert sarcoma care centers like in the US, but especially Texas, yeah, you could just go over to Mexico and you went over the Spanish doctors like I think it's sarcoma, and I think that's just the way that your story played out was very interesting. But you ended up at a great place, MD Anderson. So that was all a bit of a blessing. And so then how did treatment work for you?
Like I said, we started the chemotherapy, and they gave me a pretty tough regimen to go on. It was 5 rounds of chemo, and you get like the I don't even know all the names, but it's like the Red Devil, the all the tough stuff chemo, and they send you home with the Mesna, and it's like Monday through Friday chemo, and then you have 2 weeks to recover, and then you go back in for another round, and so this lasted a total of 5 weeks. It was like pretty close to 4 months or so, and it completely wrecked me. It was the chemo was the hardest thing that I've ever done for sure.
I think when people hear about chemo, they don't realize that, especially with rare cancers like sarcoma, we have really old treatments,
Hmm.
and these old treatments can be really, really intense. So there's not a lot of understanding around, because there's different types of chemotherapy about like how intense, like for example, the one you were on is. And so, is there like I'm wondering an anecdote or like an isolated experience you had that really encapsulates how difficult that one was?
Yeah, uh, it was difficult from day one until today, really. I mean, obviously, when I was going through it, it was worse, but it's something that changes you for life. I mean, it's so difficult. The My first round of chemo, my first 5 days, I had no idea what to expect. I was just gonna power through it and live life as normal because I'm very strong-willed like that. And it wrecked me. I mean, the first week it wrecked me. I was in the hospital like day 4 with fevers and chills and shaking, and I was just like I want to quit. Like I don't want to keep doing this. It was really bad. I would I can remember specifically like during the chemo, like let's say the first round, I was trying to fight it, and you can't fight it. You just have to let it take over and do its thing. I mean, because I tried to fight it, I think it made it harder my first round, and it was this foreign stuff my body had never had never seen. But on the rest of the rounds, I would just lay in the bed, and I was probably asleep 22 hours out of the 24 in the day. I mean, I would just lay asleep and just try to sleep away the pain, and like every minute I would wake up was just terrible. Like you have to wake up a lot and go to the bathroom because they're pumping you full of fluid, so you got to walking from the hospital bed to the bathroom was like the hardest thing ever. Just getting up and walking, my foot hurt, the chemo hurt. I mean, everything was bad. And then the next hardest thing of the day is getting home. We lived about 30 minutes away, and it's Houston, Texas in the summertime. It's 98 degrees and super humid, and just getting nauseous on the way home. And it was a terrible experience for me.
And then you just had to do that again and again and again and again.
Every 3 weeks. Yeah. So I'm in Austin. I'm trying to on my recovery time. I'm trying to get back to what's normal, and nothing's normal. And luckily, my job was able to let me work when I could, and I just kind of on light duty doing little light stuff. And then every Sunday night, I've got to get back in the truck and I've got to drive to Houston to get ready to do chemo on Monday morning. It was just like the one thing I didn't want to do, like just like if you ever get sick, it's like being sick. When you're sick, you look forward to being well again, and you're like, okay, I don't want to get sick again. Well, I'm like signing myself up for this, driving back to Houston, going, oh, here we go again. I've got to get hooked up to this machine. That's going to be the most miserable week of my life in effort to save my foot from getting amputated was the goal at the time, and that was a failed attempt. So it was really tough. It was hardest thing I've ever done for sure. Physically, mentally, I mean, you lose all your hair, you lose your identity, you lose your strength, and I'm someone that likes to work out and be strong, and you lose all that, and it's not. And like my hair comes back, now, but not knowing at the time if it would or what it would be, and it's not the same hair it was. It just everything changes.
And like for you specifically, because everybody's a little bit different and how they try to like get support. And like obviously a lot of people go online nowadays.
Hmm.
And like were you that kind of person that was just trying to go online and like find stories or like advice from like people like you, however you identify in that way to just try to get some sort of, I don't know, reassurance, advice,
Hmm.
hedges against stuff?
Yeah, it's a really good question. The first time, I honestly felt like I was kind of alone. There wasn't a lot of people like me, and so I just like kind of bit the bullet, and I'm gonna get done with this, and I'm gonna ignore it, and I'm not gonna want to look at it on my phone, and I'm just gonna get through it. I didn't want nobody to see me. I didn't like people taking pictures of me with no hair. Like I just wanted to like get through it. And I just tried to like in my free time I ignored it. I just didn't want to look at myself in the mirror. Like, I'm just like, okay, I'm just looking forward to the next step, like getting through this chemo. Um, but after the chemo was a failed attempt, they're talking about amputation, and that's I think when I really started to reach out to like online looking for is amputation something that I want to do? Like, because you have an option, you can say no. And that's where I really started to look out to what can people do with prosthetics and stuff like that. And then on down the road, like I said, I get have this reoccurrence, and that was when I really started to reach out online to try and find people in similar situations and really trying to make connections with people. What are you doing? What's going on? What treatment are you doing? What are you doing other than treatment outside of the hospital? That's when I really started to uh, look out for people to help and people in similar situations, which there are a lot. There is a lot of people that you think, oh, this is rare. I'm the only one. You're not. There's a lot of people out there, and they're great people who are willing to help, and they're hurting just like you are, and want to help. So that was kind of when I started looking more online for stuff.
And like mentally seeing that a lot of other people were going through it, even though albeit rare, did that do you think that helped you at all, like in your journey? I'm sure there was like information you found that was like logistically helpful, but like
Hmm.
also seeing that there were other people online.
yeah, it helps for sure. And it's also like, just having someone to check in on and to see how they're doing and to see what treatments they're doing. A lot of the treatments are similar and a lot of treatments aren't similar. And like just knowing that you're not in it alone. And I've even connected with some people and our appointments are like on the same day. And when they come to Houston, we go get something to eat. And it's just nice to kind of hear like, oh, they got great news. Like maybe I didn't, but they did. And it's hopeful. Like, oh, like my friend got good news and maybe I didn't get that great of news, but it's hopeful that I might one day, just like her, and I'm happy for them. And it is good. It's a good community.
What happened in between? You're going through your treatment with your foot. You're
Mhm.
thinking, do I really want amputation and getting a prosthetic? And then there's a chunk of time, and then you find out it's in your lungs. So what happened in that chunk of time in between? How did you even know to go back to the doctor?
Well, it's kind of like a routine thing. Like I said, being in the sarcoma center, it's something they see every day. And supposedly, sarcomas, specifically the type of sarcoma I had, synovial sarcoma, is known to metastasize and travel somewhere else in the body. And like the number one spot it usually always goes to is the lungs. So they had told me when I had my amputation, like, look, we're going to bring you in every 3 months for 2 years, and we're going to do a routine scan of CT, chest, pelvis, and we're going to do an MRI of your leg. We're just going to check on things, make sure things are still okay. And then after 2 years, we'll bump that to every 6 months. And then after a couple years, you'll come in once a year and we'll just keep checking you out kind of for the rest of your life. And I was like, cool. And didn't think nothing about it. Went to the doctor every 3 months. And that's how we found out. They had me on a routine schedule.
I see. I see. Okay, so it's the routine. Okay, so you get this diagnosis, you get this information at work, and did you just feel like you had to go on autopilot to like next steps?
Yeah, I mean, that was all that week is almost like a blur. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I didn't know what to do, but like I said earlier, I kind of almost immediately started to reach out online, social media, looking for people in similar, like who's had reoccurrences, can I find someone that's in a similar situation to me? Can I find someone that's had sarcoma in their lungs? And you do, and you find out, and I try not to do too much Googling, because you get pretty scared pretty quick with the odds you see. But there is people that I found that, okay, they've got very similar stuff going on and they didn't make it. And then I found some people who are 8, 9 years in remission. And I'm like, wow, really? Like, so you had this same thing I have, it came back and you beat it, like blowing people up, like how'd you do that? Like please help me out. I am begging for and I reached out to a lot of people and like I said, it's a very good community and some of these people have lots of followers, but they still took the time to message me back and like, hey, this is what I did, this is what happened, this is where I got treatment. Like any questions, anything you need, just reach out and it's super comforting having that. But getting the news and that first week it was I mean I have a smartwatch and it tells you like your stress levels for the day and you can see on the chart like at the 2:30 Zoom call it was like boop stress up like all the way like higher than it ever been. It measures your irregularly beats in your heart to tell if you're stressed or not, and it was telling me like my stress levels were like way high and they stayed up for like that whole first week.
Which I mean, it makes sense, but it's interesting in this scenario where you're actually tracking it before consistently, and you actually see the trend change.
Yeah.
That's It's like, well, you probably didn't need to know you were stressed, but it's interesting to see that that is actually documented on your own device.
Yeah, and they say stress, I mean, you see lots of stuff about oh this and that with cancer, but they, stress isn't good for cancer, and that a lot of people say that. Anyways, and you're like, wow, how am I not going to be stressed? Like I just got the worst phone call you can receive.
So you have to like kind of build yourself up as strong as you can and just sit know like storms coming and like let's just hope this is what is going to help as we go in. So maybe that's kind of part of it.
Yeah, that sums it up perfectly. Like, yeah, you don't know, you know it's coming, and you're going to get ready for war, like you're going to do everything you can. Like, um, just being prepared the best you can is the best thing you can do, and having a positive mindset of I'm going into this fighting and I'm gonna beat it. Like just all you need to do is give me a chance. That's all I'm asking for is a chance, and I'll prove to you that I can do it. Like I want to prove everyone that thinks I can't, like I want to prove it wrong, like all the odds are stacked against me. I just need a chance, like I love being the underdog, like I love signing up for a race, and I look to my left and I look to my right and everybody's got 2 feet and I got one. Let's go, like, and I beat them, like come on, like it's being the underdog. I like it, it gets me fired up. So like knowing that the odds are stacked against me, but there is a chance, I'll take it. That's all I need.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Well, I know you're like still going through this process, but to kind of end us off in a way, do you either have some advice for other people who are maybe in your position, or is there anything you wish, like kind of advice you wish you would have received? I'm either going through, your sarcoma with your foot before or now.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything is case specific for like certain advice I would give someone going for an amputation, or someone who's going for chemo, or someone who might be, I don't know, a number of things, but there is the general advice of the like keeping your head up and knowing that you're going to get through it. And when you get through it and you get to the other side of just say chemo or learning to walk again on an amputation, that you're going to be better because of it. I think you look back to any situation in your life where you say like, "Oh, I got better because of that." It was probably something very difficult that you did. It probably wasn't something easy. Like not a lot of people get better from doing something easy, and there's nothing about cancer that's easy. The treatment's not easy. The Nothing about it's easy. The news isn't easy to hear. Um, like I say, it brought me closer to with my faith with God, and like it wasn't easy to hear the news, but I'm better because of that, and I have this different mentality now after going through chemo of if I did that, like there's literally nothing that I can't do. Like I did the hardest thing that I've ever done. I'll be on a run and I'll be hurting. And I'm like, there's like nothing that I'm gonna do that can be harder than that. But having the positive mindset going back into this chemo, knowing that I'm gonna get through it, like time's gonna pass anyways, so I might as well just put my head down and get through it and keep looking forward and keep fighting forward, and never give up hope. And that's really the best advice that I could give. And honestly, like I've touched on it a couple of times, but just staying busy, getting outside, getting some sun, moving. That's been tremendously good for me. During the cancer chemo, it was like one of those things. I think rest was the best thing at that time. But when I got to feeling good and I had a good day and I got outside and get some sunshine, or go down to the beach and just stick your toes in the sand, and just walk up and down the beach or anything like that has been very good for me.
Thank you. And I know you're still going, through this process, so I really appreciate you like actually talking about it. I can't begin to relate what it's like to actually talk about it while you're still going through it. So I really do appreciate you talking about this.
Yeah, no problem. And like I said, the first time I went through it, it was one of those things I thought I was alone and I was going to just put my head down and didn't want to look in the mirror, didn't want to talk about it, didn't want to. I would leave a doctor's appointment. Mom's like, "What? Do you want to talk about it?" And I'm like, "Nope." Like maybe that's a typical guy. I don't know. But the second time around, I mean, there's after getting the reoccurrence and reaching out to people that are willing to talk about it to me and show me the hope, like I would love to be able to be that hope for someone else. Like whatever stage of this you're going through, like you can get through it on the other side, and you're gonna you have this hope of feeling better one day and knowing there's someone else out there in this similar situation that you're in. It may not be exactly the same, but it's similar, and knowing that you're not alone in this, and it's tough, and it really is, and it's okay to admit that it's tough. But
Actually, really did not see a lot of guys being very open. There are some. I am not saying there aren't any, but I was just like, that's something I saw, and I was just wondering, did that like specifically, did you notice that there was not a lot of guys that talked about this? Did that impact you or in any way?
yeah, I've noticed the same trend for sure. And I mean, I think in any aspect, I mean, sarcoma is not gender specific, like I don't know the odds, but I'm pretty sure it's probably close to 50-50. But you look out there, and there is a lot more girls talking about it, but I think girls are a lot more talkative in general than guys. Guys kind of like just deal with it. And as a guy getting hit with cancer, it's um, you know, most guys want to be the provider, the protector, the strong man, the man that's going to lead. And when you're getting hit with the treatment that's required for this old treatment for cancer, it strips all that away from you. You're fully dependent on someone to take care of you. Yes, you have good days, but like going through the treatment, it's fully stripped from you. So a lot of guys probably don't want to talk about it and don't talk about it. And like me, like I say, the first time I was going through it, I didn't want to talk about it. And now I'm more open to talk about it. And I'm an open book. You can ask me anything you want, and I'll be as honest and open as I can. But for sure, it's guys are just as affected as girls. You may see more girls out there on social media talking about it, making reels and stuff, but the guys are hit with it too, and it's very tough for a guy to be someone who wants to provide and protect, you know, to be completely crippled and completely stripped of your strength, completely stripped of your job because most times you can't work. Like I say, I was able to work some, but my income took a tremendous hit. So it's tough. It's tough for guys, but cancer's not gender specific. It attacks equally. But yeah, I think there is a lot of guys out there that struggle with this. For guys specific, I would say that just keep looking forward to know that through the treatment it's going to be tough, but it's okay to reach out to people for help, and it's okay to message people and to talk about it and to voice what's going on. I think that us talking about it and us letting people know that hey, this is a problem, like this is a under researched uh, disease that like the squeaky wheel gets the grease kind of thing. Like the guy that's talking about, hey, I've got a problem over here, like he's gonna get some help. Whereas if you're not talking about it, like, you know, I mean, yes, you'll get help, but like maybe people realize like this is a big deal. Like this is a lot of people are affected by this, and we need to fund more stuff about sarcoma and do better research and get some treatments that are more promising than a couple months, maybe. Like that's not what you want to hear. So talking about it and talking about stuff like that helps for sure. I think get the word out there that we do need help, and it is tough. But for guys specific, I think that's pretty good advice to stick with.
Best wishes to, to you and I think you, by trying to just stay busy and, just try to focus on anything else, that sounds like a good plan. And I'm sure you and I will be in touch, but like, I wish the best for you, and I'm excited for you to try this T cell therapy because I do know about it. I myself, as a researcher, have I haven't written ones on T cell, but I'm writing ones that are then like that help out with T cells. So I'm aware of it, and I have a lot of optimism for you. So.
Thank you. I do too. It's very promising medicine that there is some FDA approved T cells out there, and this one's very close to it. So
Well, thank you so much.
thank you.